Willy video today, guys. And I think my placement here for the camera is fine, so we're just gonna get right on into it.
The vanilla meta. The Season of Discovery will throw basically everything we know about the vanilla meta out of the window. The combination of new abilities, new gear, and a restrictive level cap are going to make for tons of emergent gameplay, theory crafting, and opportunity.
Dude, this is one thing that makes me want to make a warlock. It seems like permanent metamorphosis. Like, that is so fucking cool.
To experience the game we all know so well in a brand new light. But where there is change and choice, eventually we all know that the best options will be figured out, and that certain specs will rise to the top. Until their level cap changes again, even more runes are added, and we get to do this all over again. Season of Discovery is going to be something special on release, though.
Yeah, I'm thrilled for this.
I really do believe that. But now I've gone over every single class and known rune in videos so far, I want to do a bit of a recap. Which classes do I think will perform the best in Phase 1, and which ones need a few more levels before they start to really pick up in performance? Because whilst runes will certainly change your class a lot, being level 25 is also kind of a big deal, and for some classes you're missing tons of your core talents or abilities, and
that's a fair point. Level 25, you don't really have a lot of fucking abilities or skills. I'm just thinking from like a Resto Druid standpoint, right? You don't get Swift until 40. You should have Rejuve, Regrowth, your Revive abilities, I think even your Battle Res. But yeah, there's not a lot. And like, obviously your talent selection, there's not going to be a ton of useful like boosts there. Yeah, no, that's a good point. 25. You're really not going to have much.
This is something which will heavily influence how I consider each class as a whole. And of course, we still don't have all the information as to what Blizzard are planning. Even during Phase 1 of the game, it is a season about discovery. Who knows how many secrets?
How long is the season? Is it like a year? A year? Is it a season a year?
Will be waiting for us. Nevertheless, maybe you are on the fence as to what to play, or you just want to compare what you think will be the top performer and why. Final thing to mention is I'll be putting classes in order from bottom to top, and we'll cover the classes from a viewpoint of how they will do overall, whether you want to PvP or PvE more this season. So with all that said, let's make a start. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor, Dragonair Silent Gods. Dragonair Silent Gods is an open-world strategy game available on PC, the Epic Games Store, Mac, iOS, Android, and Steam, which is...
Well, if this is what I think it is, then it makes me think of like some bullshit pay-to-win like defensive game where like the people with the big money like just kill you. Like my uncle was into one of those. I can't remember what it was. It was like something fire. I don't know. It was stupid though.
Seen over 10 million downloads worldwide since its global launch, securing at the top spot.
Okay, no, maybe this is different. This looks completely different. Never mind. I'm just speaking out of my ass apparently.
In more than 10 regions. You can click the link in the description box to download.
All right, this looks kind of cool. I will humor him. I will look into this. Not right now, but some other time.
The game and join D&D Legends in Dragonair today. Dungeons & Dragons itself is the world's most popular tabletop role-playing game, and the first phase of Dragonair's collaboration with Dungeons & Dragons was officially launched. Dragonair Silent Gods combines the decision-making and team-building of role-playing games with the unpredictability and chance of tabletop games, and is inspired by both Western themes as well as Dungeons & Dragons itself. For those who enjoy D&D, they will also find familiarity in Dragonair Silent Gods through the unique character creation system, tactical battles, moment-to-moment decision-making, and of course the unknowable outcome when it comes to rolling the dice. Recently, Dragonair Silent Gods has teamed up with D&D 2 and will introduce iconic Dungeons & Dragons characters Drizzt Do'Urden and Ertu into the game on November 17th.
So is it like a gacha game?
As well as offering other iconic D&D characters through future seasonal content releases. On top of that, during this collaboration, Drizzt and his Black Panther Gwenhwyvar will also have their own storyline to play through fully. You can check out Dragonair Silent Gods and their D&D collab today by clicking the link in the description to download the game for free. Many thanks to Dragonair Silent Gods for the sponsor today. Let's get back to WoW. The unenviable, yet also inevitable last place has to go to Warrior. I mean, come on, you're a Warrior at level 25. What did you expect here? Out of every class, Warrior is missing a staggering amount of their toolkit in this.
Yeah, let's see, what do we got here as a Warrior? We have Devastate, Raging Blow, Victory Rush, Charge, Blood Rage. Hold on, let me go mute Discord again. I always forget every time. Ooh, didn't want to mark it as read. Mute. 3 hours sounds like a good mute. Alright, let's see. Back to this. Charge, Blood Rage, Taunt, Overpower, Shield Block. I feel like it doesn't seem too bad. You get your Execute, Revenge. Like, it doesn't seem too bad.
Early stage of Season of Discovery, and that's going to really impact them. You don't even have Berserker stance by level 25. You learn that at 30. So amongst other things, you're missing Whirlwind, Berserker Rage, Pummel, Intercept, and so many more key abilities. You also won't have enough talent points to spec up.
The Six Flags Black Friday flash sale has been extended. Save 55% on select season pass add-ons.
Either into Sweeping Strikes in the Arms Tree or Death Wish in Fury. So it's going to be that early game Warrior experience where you're charging in, pressing Sunder Armor, and just kind of hoping Wind Fury procs. And that's before we even get to Rage generation at low levels. Vanilla Warriors are infamous for their slow start to the game, and being capped at 25 most definitely does not do them any favors here either. And to be honest, if Warriors were even moderately good,
maybe I should give my classic Wrath Warrior another chance because he's only 25.
At 25, I would be terrified of how they will look at 60. We all know that this class scales into the late game better than anyone else does, and I'm not expecting that to change. All this being said though, even though a lot of the Warrior runes are very powerful and add a lot of flat percentage damage, it's going to take some time before they start appearing on your damage meters. On the PvP side of things, I think it's a similar story. You're just missing too many important parts of your toolkit, which make you really start to deal damage. Sure, you can charge in from
yeah, so far, like, I have no interest in a Warrior. Even if, like, at 60, they end up being good. I'm just not really feeling it.
But now, and that removes roots with Warbringer. But when you close the gap, you're going to do what exactly? Hamstring and then hope that overpower procs? I will say, however, that I think protection looks good, even at 25. Unlike the Warrior DPS specs, they do have a lot of their abilities available early, and the new runes make Protection Warrior smoother to play, and frankly, able to deal some damage too. I mean, when Sunder's at 5 stacks, the Devastate is going to be doing 150% weapon damage, and that is spammable. So get a nice slow weapon, a Feral Wind Fury on it, and they should be doing quite well. Warriors will start to see improvements as early as level 40, I think, but in this bracket starting at 25, I think they're going to experience that typical Warrior slow start, and their best spec will be Protection. Next is another class which you typically find at the top of class lists in vanilla, the Rogue.
Really?
Let's start with PvE. We have the Rogue tank, which is now a thing, but at level 25 those mitigation stats just aren't going to be where they need to be, and when hits do inevitably land on you, you have no bonus armor stat at all, so you're going to be a really unpredictable tank to heal. On top of that, what happens to a rogue tank when they take a stun? Sure, they get uncrittable through a rune, but it's just a rogue getting hit by mobs? That doesn't seem very good, and there are a lot of stuns in vanilla too. It seems strange, this whole rogue tanking thing. Part of tanking is being able to take a hit and having some idea how much damage you will be receiving. With Rogue, it's either I take no damage or I take all the damage and there is no in between. Rogue also has a complete lack of any AoE whatsoever and loses combo points when tabbing, so threat management on
Yeah.
multiple mobs is going to be poor.
It does seem like a
But on the
nightmare.
DPS side of things, poisons also need more charges in my opinion, but the assassination build
Yeah.
seems solid at this
I was
early
really
stage,
thinking Rogue anyway,
and it
so
will
that's
probably
fun.
be the thing to play if you are a Rogue enjoyer, because combat is just missing a lot of buttons. Talents such as Sword Spec, Weapon Expertise, Blade Flurry and Adrenaline Rush will all not be available at 25, and combat really needs them to start picking up. Going daggers down a backstab build has a few more decent talents higher up the tree, but compared to other classes it's just
I'm
minus
curious when
20
it
energy
starts
on
getting to the more
backstab,
interesting
which I
classes.
don't think is going to be quite
like,
keeping
Warlock
pace with some other
Mage,
classes at level
Paladin, and
25.
Druid, I think.
For PvP, you're playing
Kinda what I'm
Rogue
thinking.
without Cheap Shot, Kidney Shot, or Blind. I don't know if I need to really
throwing
add
Warlock
anything
there,
else
yeah,
to
Mage,
that
Warlock,
statement, but
Paladin,
you
Druid.
better
Yeah,
be able
yeah,
to
yeah.
find a build that
Mhm.
one-shots people, or you're going to turn around and get one-shot.
Seems
Now,
kinda
I'm
loud.
pretty
I'm gonna
confident in
lower it
putting
just a
Rogue and Warrior
smidge.
where they are, but after that,
There
things
we go.
start getting a bit more
Seems a bit better.
complicated. Next up, I've decided to put Priest, but honestly, the next
Okay.
3 classes are all super close together for me. I
Sure.
think Priest's healing identity has just straight up been improved, and that very much goes for PvE
What do they
and
get?
PvP. In PvP, Disc has Barrier, Penance, Death, and Strength of Soul to choose from, which are all such good options. They also will have a Dispel at 25, and Priests will have learned both of their racial abilities. In PvE, there's nothing to complain about with Priests either. You are missing a bit of your kit, such as Prayer of Healing and Greater Heal, but I'm expecting Priests to still be steady performers as usual. The problems early on are going to be with Shadow. At 25, it's just not going to be great.
Because I don't
And
think
there are
you
two
can use
reasons
Shadow
why.
Form till
First
30.
is between Shadow Weaving, Darkness, and Shadow Form, you're missing a potential 40% bonus shadow damage. That's a big
That's
number.
rough,
The
man.
second problem is mana. Nothing has been shown so far to alleviate the problem Shadow Priests have in spending their mana bar within the space of a minute. On the PvP side of
Damn.
things, some kind of shadow build will be decent in 1v1s, but Priests always are good at doing that kind of thing. And at 40 and beyond, Shadow will see a very noticeable jump in power, and hopefully some kind of
That makes sense.
mana-related spell. But at 25, it might feel like a bit of a waiting room for the Shadow Priest enjoyers. If you're a healer who wants to PvE or PvP though, you're gonna have a good time. Next
Makes
I put
sense.
Druid, a class that has received a ton of highly
Okay.
impactful abilities. In fact, I wish I could put them higher, but the classes towards the top are ones which I'm pretty sure are all going to be able to do some pretty overpowered stuff. Whereas Druid just seems more fair and reasonable. Wild Strikes giving Wind Fury to Feral makes this spec suddenly really highly prized in raiding. And at 25, they will be the only source of Wind Fury for both factions.
shit.
So you're going to want lots of Feral Druids. Feral can now become crit immune, takes way less damage, has way better single target threat. The only problem is still AoE threat, but Bear Druids were already great in vanilla, they're going to be amazing in Season of Discovery. Balance
Okay.
can now cast Wrath for free, has Star Surge,
Really?
and just some much needed variety to their playstyle.
Wow.
Hopefully they should see a bit more relevance on the damage meters.
That's really
No
nice.
Moonkin form at level 25 though, obviously. And Restoration has received a bunch more healing spells, and hopefully they can lean into that heal over time identity a bit more than just being stuck casting Healing Touch. There is nothing that's really a problem for Druids which I foresee, but I just don't think they're going to be able to do anything which feels really overpowered at this early bracket. On the PvP side of things, it's going to be a similar story to how Druids have always played, with a very hit-and-run playstyle. Of course you won't have Travel Form at level 25, but between damage over time and heal over time effects, you should still be able to gradually wear people down. Number 5 for me is the Shaman, and I'm going to say straight
Okay.
away, if this were the 40 bracket, they will be in the top 3 easily.
Oh, wow.
But we aren't to the 40 bracket, and man, our Shaman
Well, I'm
just
not going to
missing
be doing
so
any Shaman
much from
stuff
their
because
toolkit at
Classic Era doesn't
25.
have
You don't have your
Alliance
Wind
Shamans.
Totem at all, meaning
So,
no.
If your dog is a toy monster
Shaman's
like
immediately
Maxine,
out
then you
for
also
me.
probably have bins of raggedy toys. And since Maxine's Super Chore box was
Wind Fury Totem. In
So
fact,
far,
no Wind
I'll
Fury
be real,
weapon in
Priest
view either.
seems pretty
no
cool.
Chain Heal, no Chain Lightning. Aside from Warrior, I think this class loses out the most from being this low of a
Priest
level.
seems cool.
However, this has been
And,
counterbalanced somewhat by
Druid,
the fact Shaman has
obviously.
got some absolutely busted runes, such as Lava Burst and Overload. These will be good at the start of the season and will only get better. As of doing the video, it appears as though dual wield enhance will be the go-to initially, and as much as I love to see two-handed work one day, dual wield specs tend to just do good damage in vanilla. Restoration looks fine.
Speaking of dual wield, that makes I really liked Ice DK Ice dual wield, or not dual wield, two-hander was really cool. It makes me sad that they devolved into like two one-handers. It's just meh.
Does need chain heal though to be able to take off as a powerful raid-wide healer. Elemental is the spec to watch though. At 25 it will just be okay, and it's missing so many talents which will make it power spike super hard at level 40. But I guarantee crit on Lava Burst is always going to be very big. In PvP, Shaman will also feel a bit slow to play. No wind totem means no grounding, which is a big part of your defensive toolkit, but if you consider the back and cast spells, Shamans just tend to do pretty well. I think the tank spec for the Shaman looks quite well rounded. It gets mana back when you block, you get this stacking armor buff, it has AoE threat, it has a taunt. It really has everything that you need to make a tank work, and I think it will be quite solid at this early level. So those three classes, Priest, Druid and Shaman, feel quite close together for me. When I think about it, I often want to change where I put them, but then I think of a reason not to. They all have at least one spec which will perform very well, but are generally just missing those few key talents or abilities to really start doing something overpowered. All of the classes that are left, however, I'm pretty sure are going to feel quite powerful even at level 25. Next, I have Mage, and I think there will be a good amount of experimentation with all three of their specs, as well as their new identity as a healer. And even though heals were nerfed quite heavily during the PTR, it's still going to scale like an absolute monster in AoE situations. And provided your tank isn't getting global,
like a raid-wide healer,
going to sit on good health all of the time. Counter to other healers too, Arcane Mages can keep building damage to improve their healing output.
I think what bugs me the most here is if this is like actually their healing animation, they just ripped it off from a druid. It just seems so wrong.
Which is going to put them in this spot where they can be amazing on AoE, whilst also doing a great amount of healing. I'm not sure their single target heals will keep up quite as well, given the current state of runes which we know, and it does feel as though some part of their kit is missing that will be needed for tank healing in vanilla. And to be honest, it tends to be the case where raid healing is quite low, and tank healing is quite high, so we'll see what happens here. Arcane as a DPS build has potential if a fight will end before your mana bar is gone. Your raid is also sure to be running multiple druids due to them now bringing Wind Fury, but they won't have Innovate until level 40. Saying that early on as a mage, you do have Evocation and Arcane Surge, but no mana gem. Arcane as a DPS build might be more of an attractive option during phase 2 of the season though. Fire is not bad at 25, you know. You can talent into improved Fireball and Ignite on top of runes such as Burnout and Living Flame and Bomb, which should make you do some respectable damage if you're lucky enough to score a few crits. But Fire really does need crit for it to start taking off. Also, don't forget about rolling Ignites in vanilla, and when it comes to that, you're going to need a lot more than 15% bonus crit. Frost honestly looks kind of busted to me. And perhaps the only thing holding it back is that you can only get 1 point in Shatter by level 25. But with Things of Frost, Isolance and Icy Veins, the mage should be in a good spot here in all areas of content. Also, Cold Snap, which you can get by level 25, says finishes the cooldown on all of your Frost spells. And Icy Veins is a Frost spell, so you're gonna get 2 uses out of it. I'm also assuming Things of Frost can proc off slow immune targets, meaning you'll be able to Isolance in PvE, and it should be some good, efficient damage, even if you are missing a ton of crit. In PvP, this class will be played on a Knife's Edge, and will probably be the highest skill cap class at 25. You do get a good amount of tools early, including Polymorph, Frost Nova, Evocation, Counterspell, Blink, Decurse, and many more. Also, if Frostbite works the way it does in later expansions, it will proc Fingers of Frost guaranteed, leading to mages being a very mobile caster. The issue is this class is so squishy.
That's
if the hunter gets a jump on you, you're just dead in 2 globals. You do have mana barrier.
I don't like the idea of basically, like I have issues with like super squishy classes. Like mage is cool, but then you if you can get your casts off, and then you wreck them. But 99% of the time, I feel like all I do is almost die, and then I drink repeatedly, and that's just boring. Like priests kind of will suffer from the same issue, but you can be a healer, and you can be better healer than a mage. So let's go with the priest then. And druid, you have specs where you don't have to really worry about that. Like I could level feral if I wanted to.
By the way, Frost and Fire Ward as well as Frost Armor, but that's it. No Ice Barrier, no Ice Block, and the Mage's health pool is infamously low early game. Overall though, I think the Mage is going to be a great pick at level 25. On to the top 3, the first is Paladin. Simply put,
Nice.
all 3 specs can get to a point where they're strong at 25 through talents, and they gain a lot of their utility early on, and many of their new runes are extremely strong. Early game Paladins will get Purify, which is Cleanse minus the Magic Dispel part, Blessing of Freedom, Blessing of Protection, a 4-second Hammer of Justice, Lay on Hands, and Divine Protection. Divine Protection just being bubble, but it doesn't last as long. Rets can talent down to Seal of Command and Pursuit of Justice for some much needed damage and movement speed, and they also get new buttons to press such as Crusader Strength, Divine Storm,
So
and
nice.
even Exorcism will work on any target. They may not do so well in long encounters, as typically Rets have struggled with the whole mana bar issue, but while they're active and pressing their buttons, they're going to be showing on your damage meters. And in PvP, a 4-second stun from Hammer of Justice may be long enough for a Retribution Paladin to delete the majority of your health bar, especially when you throw on the few Seal of Command procs in there. Protection Paladins have enough points to get Consecration from the Holy Tree,
Yeah,
which
I
you're going
refuse
to have to do. And to be
tank.
fair, after that, you don't
in
really
Classic
have
Era.
many points left, but the
Aggro
runes will fill
management
the gaps
is
in your
annoying
kit very nicely.
as a tank.
Also, I'm just saying a ton of this lower level content is going to be AoE pull focused in PvE, since it's dungeon content that's been upscaled to raids. Sure, your
Yeah.
Protection Paladin won't be able to compete on single target threats with a druid or a warrior, but on AoE, nobody even comes close to what they can do. I think Protection Paladin's toolkit will fit very nicely.
We're still gonna have the
for
same
what you'll
aggro
need for the
issues, right?
majority of
That
PvE
it
content
plagued Classic.
in Season of Discovery.
The
I
people
think
have
it's
to
going to
think
feel
be
like the
smart.
difference between doing a TBC heroic with
And
a
that's
prop
asking a
pally
lot.
versus not having a prop pally, and that, if you didn't play it, was night and day. Holy is perhaps on the weaker side compared to Ret and Prot. They did get some super powerful runes, and Beacon kind of just doubles their healing
Yeah,
output.
Beacon of Light's
But
great,
the
man.
potential issues lie in the fact that you don't have enough talents to get Illumination at 25, and even if you did, you don't have
okay,
much
yeah.
spell crit anyway. All the same, Holy can still be a very high
Cyber Week is on at Waybear.
These ads are killing me, man.
Now
a utility pick, whilst also bringing some good heals, so I don't think you're ever going to have a problem seeing a Holy Paladin in your group. Overall, Paladin is just a very well-rounded
Honestly,
class at this
if they
early
have dual
stage,
spec and it's
and
not
it has
crazy,
a lot going for it in both
I would
PvP and
dual
PvE.
spec
Because of this,
Rat
I
and Holy.
rate them really highly. Next is Hunter. So Hunter as a class has always done very
I'm
well
good.
at the lower level
don't want to.
brackets. Now I will say, as of the most recent PTR build, the rune combo that I was thinking was going to make Hunters super overpowered has been toned down. Lone Wolf
Okay.
has gone from a 25% bonus damage to 15%, and Sniper Training from
What's the point,
30% bonus crit to 10. I guess
Jesus.
welcome to a version of the game where things are actively balanced. Not something we're all too used to in Classic.
So they're still gonna be like
Nevertheless,
useful.
I still think Hunter is an absolute
It seems like
powerhouse pick for the
an unneeded
25
buff.
bracket,
I mean, debuff.
despite the oncoming nerfs.
Debuff?
This is just
Nerf.
how good this class is at a low level. Beast Mastery should also be playable at 25 if you do want to play it. Pets at low levels relative to the Hunter are still very strong. And whilst Hunters will be more of a single target focused class, they should be able to put up some very good numbers. Also, don't forget you can spec into aim shot by level 25. I'm not entirely sure how tanks are going to be holding threat when you have so much crit, but friendly reminder to all Hunters in vanilla. Disengage does exist, and it reduces your threat by a flat amount. And
Good.
since you don't have Feign Death yet, you should get used to using that button. For
That's
PvP,
fair.
if a Hunter gets an opener on a fight, they're pretty much going to win it, and Ashen Vale has a whole lot of places off to the side where you can hide. I've mentioned it before, but Night Elf Hunters being able to shadow meld and then pop out and do an aim
I don't
shot
think
into
I'm
a
gonna do any
Chimera
real
shot or
PvP.
whatever
Like,
it may
I
be, is
plan on
going to be
rolling on a
something
PvE
that's
server.
really hard to do anything about. As for the
and
melee
only doing
Hunter with
PvP if
Wind
it's,
Fury,
like,
it might
worth
actually
it.
be okay, but I feel as though it needs better stat scaling though. For example, both rogues and hunters gain 1 melee attack power per point of agility, but rogues need a bit under half as much agility per point of crit gained. Hunters' agility scaling is pretty much all tied into the fact they gain 2 points of ranged attack power per
that
1
seems
agility.
like a mistake.
This is looking kind of long term though. Maybe hunters just need some better strength
Yeah,
scaling to
that
make up
can't
for
have
it.
been a
And
good
I'm sure the
pull.
other melee won't mind them rolling on their gear anyway, right?
Yeah,
Another
no,
big issue with the melee
he's
hunter
screwed.
at the moment is that they don't have a good way to actually get on their target. In Legion, when this spec was first introduced,
Was the
they
goal
had an
just to
ability
try to kill
called
that guy? Because if that's the
which is
case,
basically
he might
death
pull
grip,
it off.
but reverse. The hunter pulls themselves to the target. So in PvP, I guess you're just going to be concussive shotting and then trying to run
Oh, he
people
did it,
down
he
with
did it.
cheetah. I don't know. Sounds kind of goofy to me. Either
very
way, I
nice.
think overall Hunter is looking in an excellent spot for both PvE and PvP in this early part of Season of Discovery, and I think they're going to be a top performer. Which means I think the class that will do overall best from the 25 bracket, as far as we know at the moment, will be the Warlock. Okay,
I can
totally
see that.
no bias here, I swear. I don't even want to say I think the class I
Sure.
main will be the best, because it's another way of saying I think they are the most likely to be nerfed. I will say, however, perhaps the biggest weakness they have are on abilities. Some of the ranks of damage over time effects they have won't be doing a huge amount of damage, but the runes Warlocks have alongside their talent
you get
choices
Chaos
will make
Bolt
for
at
a
level
ton
1?
of experimentation.
What the
You
fuck?
can go down the destruction tree as fire and see how that does. You can spec into Affliction, get 1 point in Nightfall, put Corruption on everything, and hope for procs so you can just spam Shadow Bolt volley.
They can't
or you
be
can
right,
go for the newer
right?
playstyle and be a tank instead. The first
That does
tanking
look
spec
cool.
ever in World of Warcraft that will be fully ranged, by the way. You can also
Oh,
have
it's
an
a
instant
ranged tank?
corruption, and you'll have instant
No
searing
way.
pain too. And
Really?
this class stands to gain a whole lot more power as the season progresses too, where you can mix and match more talent choices. I don't think it's strictly always
didn't want
going
a
to be the
tank.
best on single target or AoE, but there is so many options on what you can do with the Warlock, even at level 25, that I think it is one to watch out for.
I might,
And I'm not as
like
sold
if I
on the
made an
whole
alt,
Affliction build for
I'd
PvE, if
consider
I'm
a
honest.
Warlock because
However,
that just
I
seems
do
really
think it will
cool.
be the strongest leveling build in the game, outside of Mage's ability to AoE farm, of course. And leveling is a pretty big bit of vanilla, so that is not too bad either. And then we get on to PvP, and there is just no way Warlock is not
We're almost done with
overpowered
this. Oh,
here.
yeah, we're
The
almost done
damage
with
over
this one.
time drain life, a rune to activate that increases your armor by 500%, as well as an instant searing pain.
this a like.
And what else do they get? Voidwalker Sack, Healthstone, Fear. Yeah, this class is
Wow, they
going to
get a
be
lot, don't they?
absolutely busted. It won't be as great in larger scale PvP, to be fair, but locks will be an absolute nuisance to deal with if you can't dispatch them quickly. There is just nothing not to like here, and I believe Warlock has multiple viable specs to try out across
Yeah.
different runes and talents.
Alright, so far
And for
then,
that reason, I've put
my
them
my
at the
four.
number
If I had to
one
like
spot.
narrow
And
it
those are
down
my
to
thoughts on
4,
the classes in phase 1 of Season of
Priest,
Discovery
Druid,
pre-release.
Paladin, Warlock.
Again, we're going into
Kinda
this
where I'm
with
at now.
incomplete information. Things are absolutely going to change, and I'm very much expecting the unexpected too. With so many people trying out various different builds and specs, it's pretty much guaranteed that some kind
Alright.
of combination
This was
of items and talents
yesterday.
arises that turns out to
Okay.
just be turbo broken.
Fairly
But
up
that's
to
gonna be
date.
the fun part of the season, isn't it?
Kind of
What do
not
you
where I
think
was
for the
thinking this
classes
video
I
was gonna go,
covered here,
but I feel like it was
Are
still
any
pretty
of them
helpful.
going to do way better than I've estimated? Or
But yeah, so I would say that was pretty good. Let's see what else we got. This was from 2 weeks ago. So
30th of November, class
Oh,
design
whoa.
is about to be totally redefined for Classic WoW.
yeah, there we go. Let's
Season
dial
of
that back a
Discovery
bit.
Isn't just vanilla classes with a little bit more spice, but they're being totally redesigned from the ground up with a heavy focus on more fun and hybridization. And honestly, guys, I think Blizzard are only just getting started. In the future, it wouldn't surprise me if things became even more groundbreaking. It's great to see Blizzard actually taking some risks and experimenting with what a Classic Plus server can become. And nonetheless, these new class additions at a first glance can be a little overwhelming. I mean, what class should you even play now with all of the changes? Well, by the end of the video, you should have a better idea on what class to roll, or you get so excited that the decision becomes even harder. Just remember, guys, that the theme of this seasonal server is discovery. So if you think that learning stuff about SOD before you've played it will actually ruin the experience for yourself, here's a crazy idea. Turn the video off now instead of moaning like a typical WoW baby in the comment section. So
Damn.
as you know, In SOD, they are adding runes to the game. They are similar to legendary affixes in Diablo 4.
Yeah.
They will add a class talent or a totally new ability from the many different WoW expansions, and they are actually obviously assigned to your gear pieces. Be sure to watch the whole video, as many new abilities have been data mined. For instance, a gladiator stance for warriors that will allow them to use
What? Dude, that would be awesome. I love gladiator stance in WoD. I was so sad when they took it out.
Specific abilities in all stances. But remember, data mined abilities are definitely not confirmed to be in the game.
Druid gets efflorescence? Oh my god, that'd be great. Renew would be great too. Dude. Oh, that'd be cool.
Let's begin with the druid. The focus here has definitely been to make every druid.
Oh, he marked them. So we have druid. We're gonna. I might have to skip some of these. No, they're only a couple minutes each.
Spec viable, so that the druid isn't just a healer endgame, but also to make the healing spec a little more interesting. We have the addition of Savage Roar, Mangle, and the data mined Tiger's Fury.
Nice.
The Pharaoh Druid will definitely be powerful enough with this toolkit.
Definitely
to
makes
make
Feral
him a
Druid seem
formidable DPS,
pretty cool.
like the Iron Breath of the Lich King. And the same goes for balance with the addition of Star Surge and Sunfire. Interestingly,
Oh shit, they're giving us Sunfire.
can also be used in bear and cat form. So it's going to be nice for when bear tanks want to do some ranged pulling. They will also have
so
a
it seems like
wide buff
they're
called Wild
making
Strikes, which is basically Wind Fury Totem.
it seems like they're making boomkins basically like the equivalent of Wrath boomkins. That could be very interesting. Wrong button.
And there's also this ability called Furious Stormrage that allows a healer to spam Wrath for no mana cost.
Oh,
and
nice.
basically allows the possibility for you to be a hybrid DPS and healer.
Oh,
Healing
proc
druids can also
12%
get
though.
Life Bloom, Living Seed, and Wild Growth.
That's really
By
great,
the way,
man.
guys, if you want to see every single
shit.
ability that is confirmed to be added in Season of Discovery, I have made a huge spreadsheet of them all for every single class.
Wow.
All you gotta do is subscribe.
I'm not
to
gonna
the
do
channel
that though.
and go to my subscriber-only trailer. And if you want to level up your characters and your professions really fast when Season of Discovery drops, be sure to check out Zygor's guides. They're going to be going all out for when Season of Discovery drops, making guides for every element of the game, so be sure to check that out. Hunter
Might
runes
have
seem
to
to
try
be more
that.
focused on making your rotation more interesting, while also allowing you to be a more viable melee DPS.
How
This is
old
made
is this?
possible by Flanking
2 weeks
Strike,
ago? Okay.
where you and your pet simultaneously deal 100% melee damage, but it can also boost the damage of
Oh,
Mongoose
shit.
Bite and Raptor Strike. And then also
Okay.
Raptor Strike has a chance to reset the cooldown on Flanking Strike. You also get this very strong cleave melee attack ability called Carve
Wait.
that strikes
Are
every time
melee hunters
in front
like
of you.
an actual
You
thing?
also have the option to ditch your pet for 25% increased damage. This
I
will
think-
likely be
oh,
the
that's right. Didn't they
meta
nerf this to,
strategy
like,
for anyone
15?
not playing Beast Mastery. They seem to
That's
have
what Willie
taken
said,
a
it was
lot of
15.
influence from the retail version of Marksman,
Which sucks.
especially as you can get the Sniper Training Room, which increases your crit chance by 30%
I
when you
think
haven't
that got
moved
reduced
in
to like
6
20 or
seconds.
something.
You will also
trying
get
to remember.
Cobra Strike, the exposed weakness debuff added in TBC, and also an ability to make your multi-shots also trigger a
It's a
certain
bit
sting.
old, but
You've got classic stuff like Kill Command, Explosive Shot,
Oh, shit.
Chimera Shot, and
Oh,
the
wow.
Beast Mastery talent, which basically turns your pet
It's actually
into Mike
interesting.
Myers. Interestingly, a new aspect has been data mined called Aspect of a Lion that increases all stats by 20% and all party member stats nearby by 10%. I imagine that's going to be the main meta play for a melee hunter. There's also a buff that's been data mined, literally called Warlock Pet buff, and it hints that pets will actually scale with your stats because we
Oh,
didn't
shit.
actually in the original vanilla. Mage runes will allow you to be any kind of mage that you want to be because of all the hybridization, but also
Yeah.
weirdly allow you to become a healing DPS hybrid. I think instead of mage having 3 DPS specs, Arcane will become a healer hybrid.
I'll be
People
honest, it
think that
does
it's a
seem
bit cringe,
interesting.
but to me it makes sense. I mean, there have been many wizard mage characters in other fantasy
But not enough
universes that
to
are healers.
Put
Like,
time
for
into.
example, the sorceresses in the Witcher
I think
franchise.
it falls back to like
Regeneration
maybe
is
an
a
alt
long,
at the
hot
end of
effect
the
that
season,
doesn't do as much healing as a typical
kind of thing.
pot, but converts 100% of your arcane damage into healing through the temporal beacon buff. This simultaneously applies when you put regeneration regeneration on the target, but can also be applied by a new AoE heal called Mass Regeneration. And the Rewind ability will reverse the damage taken in the last 5 seconds by all targets with Temporal Beacon. They've also
Pretty neat.
added a very hard-hitting arcane damage ability called Arcane Surge that deals damage based on your remaining mana, scaled by 300% of your total mana, but it does actually consume all of the mana and increases regeneration after. I really don't want to
Interesting.
know what this is going to be like combined with a Pom Pyroblast.
I'd kind of love to
Iconic
see what
mage
that'd be
talents
like.
and spells have also been added like Fingers of Frost, Burnout, Living Flame, Icy Veins, Ice Lance, Arcane Blast, and Living Bomb. The improved elemental
It is
war
interesting to
talents
see
from
like the
PvC
number of
have
things
also
they
been
decided to
data
take from
mined.
expansions and
Paladins
just
will be
throw
glad to
into
know
this.
that their new runes will make
There we
threat
go.
and protection perfectly viable in raiding. They've added Avenger Shield, a taunt,
Nice.
Aegis, which is an ability similar to Holy Shield,
Okay.
Divine Storm, Sliver Martyr,
I love
which is
that.
basically
Nice.
the TBC Seal of Blood,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
also obviously Crusader Strike.
Yes.
Exorcism can be used on any target.
It's
They
so
also
great.
added Divine Sack and Rebuke, which is the
okay.
Paladin's Kick, which is interestingly not
Yeah,
even in Wrath of
Rebuke
the
would be
Lich King
great.
yet. And weirdly, they have this new one called Horn of Lordaeron, which is basically the Death Knight's Horn of Winter. Beacon of
Oh,
Light has also
interesting.
been added, with
Nice.
an ability that can debuff fear and sleeps. Data mining also shows buffs to Righteous Fury,
Oh
and
shit.
they might
Okay.
be adding Rebound, which was a TBC talent that increases your chance to block after you receive a crit.
okay.
The Priest runes will focus on adding multiple healing playstyles and making Shadow Spec more viable.
Okay.
Trump of the Soul reduces the duration of the Weakened Soul debuff
Oh, that'd be
on
so
the target
nice.
when you use healing abilities on them, making specking Deep and Discipline very likely worth it. There's an extra
Nice.
dot called Void Plague that's been added, and along with
Wow, that's a lot of
Mindseal,
mana though.
so Priest will actually do some competent AoE DPS.
Like, I
There's
feel
a new
like
cooldown
that's
called
Too much.
Homunculi. I have no
Homunculi.
idea how it's pronounced. It's basically similar to a mage's mirror image. Souls
Oh,
will
yeah,
attack
but
the
they
target
beat
and
them with
debuff it.
Weapons.
Shadow Word Pain can
Seems
also
kind
be
of stupid.
automatically spread to nearby targets with the Shared Pain rune.
Oh shit. Okay.
Surrender Pity has also been added, which is a buff that speeds up a cast time of your big,
Mm-hmm.
longer heals when you cast your small, faster, cheap heals. Twisted Faith boosts the damage of Mind Flay and Mind Blast,
Okay.
and the Priest will also get some of his iconic abilities like Prayer of Mending, Circle of
Nice.
Healing, Penance, Shadow Word Death, and
Wow.
Shadow Word Barrier. Rogue runes will focus on making poisons more viable, but only in theory for Horde, because, as you know, they would have to change how
So far,
Windfury
all this has
works and
given
how
me
it
is 4
interacts with
classes,
weapons.
and I came
They're adding
into it
some
thinking about
iconic
2
rogue
classes,
toolkit abilities that always felt missing from vanilla, while also strangely making
which I
the
think
concept of a
vanilla
rogue
has
type
like 8
viable.
different
This is
classes,
made
right?
possible by
So
the rune Just a Flesh Wound.
I
that
went
turns
from
Blade
like
Flurry into a
having it
defensive
narrowed down,
cooldown
you know,
and
to
turns
25%
Feint into
to
a taunt.
increasing
You
it
also
to
get a finishing
50.
move called Blade Dance that
Son of
increases
a
parry
bitch.
chance to a maximum of 10%, and a new strike ability called
Damn, it's
Weavy
getting
Main
cold, man.
Gauche or Gooch. Sounds a bit strange, sounds a bit rude to be honest, but anyway. And
Feel like if it
essentially
just
does the
stayed the
same, so that's a
temperature and
constant
rains,
20%
that would be-
constant
that'd be
parry
great.
chance in theory. Slaughter from the Shadows makes backstab and ambush cost 20 less
I'm
energy. They've
curious
also
if it's
added
changed.
some iconic ranged abilities
Yesterday I
from the
checked.
Outlaw Rogue spec on
Should rain
retail
tomorrow
like Quick Draw,
For me,
which is similar to Concussive Shot, and Between the Eyes that buffs attack power and causes a stun. We've also got some
Wow.
other classic stuff like Deadly Brew and Venom,
It's no longer
Saber
gonna
Slash,
rain this week.
Mutilate, and Star Strike
on
has
any
also
day.
been added. Shiv
Kinda
has
sad.
also been data mined. Shaman, as you probably guessed by now, has had their meme specs made more viable. Elemental will be buffed by abilities like Lava Burst and Overload.
You see, I
that's
don't
a chance
care
to
because
cast
I
an extra
can't be a
spell for
shaman on
half the damage,
Alliance.
and Enhancement will get Dual Wield and Lava Lash. Weirdly, Shamans have also been given the power to tank with the addition of Shield Mastery, a stack
I know a
mana
lot of people are
increasing
happy
buff
about that.
that regenerates mana, and the Way of the Earth rune that increases threat and turns Earth Shock
It's kind of
into
funny.
a taunt.
They're happy about the
We also
idea of
have
the
a
tank,
hybrid healing
but then
cooldown
they
called
went and
Ancestral
upset
Guidance,
people
where
because they can't
25%
two
of
will
damage converts to
two-hand
healing on free nearby item
as a,
is increased to 100%
enhancement.
if your target is affected by flame shock. This is very similar to the Priest Vampiric Embrace. That's
So it's
added
good. It's
in
kind of like
TBC.
you go
However,
forward,
it's on a cooldown.
you
They've
can
also
tank,
added a few things to make
and
a
then,
healing shaman
get
more
screwed on
interesting,
enhancement.
like Healing Rain, Earth Shield,
Oh, man.
Shamanistic Rage, Water
They're really
shields
good
also
at like
added,
giving
and
with
there's
one
also
hand and taking
Molten
away with
Blast,
another.
which is a frontal cone AoE fire damage spell. Warlock runes will allow different
Let's look at
playstyles to
this.
become more viable, namely dot playstyles.
Yeah,
Give them
hate
some
dot
actual
playstyle.
good AoE capability, and
Which is
also
funny 'cause I
Blizzard
kinda
are
like Shadow
finally
Priest.
experimenting with a viable Warlock tank spec. Interestingly, for the first
Maybe it's just
time,
the Warlock
Metamorphosis
dots I
actually
don't
made
like.
a permanent ability. Interestingly, they have made Metamorphosis a permanent form ability
So
in
fucking
Cracker
cool.
Druid that comes along with a charge and an AoE taunt. It also makes Searing Pain instant, Shadow Bolt into an AoE melee cleave ability on a 6-second cooldown, and turns Curse of Wreck into a 10-second cooldown taunt. Affliction would definitely be viable with Everlasting Affliction and Haunt added. Destruction will be more fleshed out and
So
more
far I'm
involved with
seeing
Chaos
Warlock
Bolt and
ult.
Incinerate. We also have some
Maybe
cool
a mage
stuff like
ult.
Lake of Fire, causing Rain of Fire to leave a flame strike effect on the ground, and also buff pet damage when a pet's inside it.
So maybe
Channeler that turns
maybe that'll
Drain
remove
Life into
Warlock
an
from my
instant
current
cast
setup list
debuff
as a
that
main.
boosts its healing generation, well, the healing drain generation by 100%, but it does increase its mana cost. You also have Demonic Grace that increases your dodge and crit chance by 30%, along with some classic TBC and Refer Lich King additions, like Soul Siphon, Demonic Tactics, Demonic Pack, and also weirdly you can turn your Shadow Bolt into a Shadow Bolt Volley, which
Oh,
is
shit.
basically an AoE ability instead. Warriors will be happy to know that many of their irritating restrictions are being removed by runes. Furious Thunder, for instance, will allow a tank to finally use Thunderclap in defensive stance.
Oh,
There
nice.
also seems to be a heavy
What about
focus on
charge?
making dual wielding more
What about charge, man?
powerful,
What about
most
charge?
likely for PvP. Frenzied Assault increases attack speed by 20% when dual wielding. Single-minded Fury increases your physical damage and your movement
What about
speed
Titan's
by
Grip?
10%
Give us
while
give
dual
give
wielding.
Titan's Grip,
Then
and I'd
there's
consider a
this
warrior.
very overpowered ability called Consumed by Rage, which increases melee damage by 25% for 12
seriously,
seconds or a max
if they gave
of
us Titan's
12
Grip,
swings
I'd
whenever you
probably roll
exceed
a warrior.
80 rage. Now, if this doesn't have some
As
kind
an
of
alt,
internal
at
cooldown,
least.
then warrior playstyle may switch to be totally different. It may be more about saving and banking.
Kind of
on
makes me want
rage
to up my warrior on Wrath right now.
optimize your auto attack
Thought of
damage.
dual wielding.
Combine this with another really rude sounding ability called Flagellation. Kind of sounds like something else, but anyway, which increases your physical damage by another 25% for 12 seconds. And this happens whenever you use Berserker Rage or Blood
I'm not
Rage.
getting it.
And I can see the new Endless Rage rune going well with this because it increases
That
your
looks
rage
awesome.
generate by 25%. You also have Blood Frenzy, giving free rage on your bleed effects. Raging Blow, Warbringer, allowing you to charge in combat in any stance. Victory Rush, Devastate for the Protection Warrior, and a new ability called Quick Strike, and this is a two-hander weapon only ability
Oh,
that
shit, okay.
benefits from all of the benefits that Heroic Strike gets. So
Oh.
more stuff has been data mined, like Shield Reflection, like I said before, something
Titan's
called
Grip?
Gladiator Stance. Honestly, this does look a little weird, mind you, because
Okay.
it's apparently a shield rune, and it's not associated with Warrior, but apparently it allows you to
Huh.
use any ability in any stance. It's apparently categorized as a
Dude.
proficiency, similar to how you get proficiency
That would be
to
cool.
use plate armor.
That would
So maybe
make
it's gonna be an
warriors
enhanced ability
really
linked to a
nice.
higher level
You
rather than an actual
wouldn't have to
rune.
stance.
And there we have it, my class overview
Holy
for
shit.
all of the new
Okay.
changes coming in Season of
If you
Discovery.
didn't have
guys
to stance
excited about the
dance,
new rune system, or do you think Blizzard are going a little bit overboard?
And
Let me know in the comments.
you could
section
DPS
below.
as a sword and
Personally,
shield, sword
I'm
and
very
board.
Excited.
That'd be really
Anyway,
tempting.
My name is Metagoblin.
honestly.
Until the next video. Ciao.
That video just kind of slid my ideas here. So I'm currently thinking I'm still on the whole druid paladin as mains. Maybe a priest. My alts kind of grown to have kicked warlock to an alt, mage to an alt, and a warrior to an alt so far because they seem pretty cool. Mage less so. So let me give that a like. Go on to the next guy here. Ooh, 15 big changes 3 days ago. All right.
Of different changes compared to original Classic 2019, and I have to admit it all looks so promising. I can't wait to start exploring the world and discover many unknown things. Ashen Well will now be an open world PvP zone where you can obtain many
That does seem
different
pretty
things.
cool.
For example, a level 25 mount as both factions.
Oh
For
shit.
Alliance, it will look like this Nightsaber, and it
What
will
about
have
Horde?
a
What's it
60%
look like?
movement speed. Just remember, it's
Can't
only
imagine
gonna be
giving
usable
Horde the
in
same
Ashenwell,
same
so
mount.
not in any of the other zones. As a Horde, you get a Wolf,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah, that
this
makes
is just
sense.
the exact same like Alliance, 60% movement speed, and only usable in Ashenwell. As of right now, it also seems like these will be the only one we can obtain.
All right, give me a second, guys. All right, guys, we're back.
So you should not expect
Okay.
to be able to use mounts in the other zones, at least not until phase 2 and when you reach level 40. It also seems like there are going to be introduced 2 different bosses in the zone, one for Alliance and one for Horde.
Okay.
And I guess when you slay the opposite faction's boss, you might also receive this
Oh.
buff that
Okay, so
lasts
world
for 2
buff.
hours. It also seems like there will be different outputs.
Okay, I'll be curious. Will like world buffs? Like, I assume world buffs are going to be a massive thing, unless they're nerfing those. That would be interesting. 'Cause I totally forget that like classic vanilla stuff, like world buffs. That could be interesting. Okay.
Post, or well, things you can capture and control, just like the battleground Alterac Valley. When you do different objectives, then you will also be given reputation with the Warzone Gulch faction, a faction that is going to be important in Season of Discovery, as you can now also obtain new items. These items
Okay,
will
we
only
got-
be useful in Warzone Gulch.
Oh,
but they
well,
will reduce your damage
the fuck
taken
then?
and also chance to be
I
critical
don't give a
hit
shit.
by 5%. Talking about PvP, then there's one last thing I would also like to highlight. There is going to be a faction balance
All
in
right,
PvP.
shit. Sorry, guys. I have to take a quick bio break. I've been drinking too much water and shit. Be right back. Alright, and we're back. Okay. Let's see, more PvP stuff, eh?
In other words, if there's too many Alliance players, it will force you to create a Horde character if you start
Oh,
on the
shit.
server. If you already
Well,
have a
I'm not
character in
gonna-
the realm, then
okay.
you will of course be able to
Alright, I said I wasn't going to do any PvP servers, but it's really just going to depend on the popularity, honestly. Because if the highest population server is going to be PvP, then I'm just going to have to eat it and do PvP, man. Honestly. Maybe that'll be for the best, too. I guess we'll see, right? It could be hilarious watching me rage. Getting very angry. I've had friends laugh at me and find it entertaining. At the same time, they've also found it scary. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
continue playing it. Back in original Classic 2019, you had to install an add-on in order to see the cast bar of your enemy. This is no longer the case.
Oh,
Go
okay.
to Options, then to Interface, and find Raid Frames. Just above
Okay.
this, you will see Show Enemy Cast Bar. By enabling this, you can now also see the cast bar of your enemy, and this is always 100%
Oh, nice.
accurate. So you should
I wonder if you like hit the I think it's what V, which pops up their thing. I wonder if you see that over their name too, or if you have to click on them to see it. Because like this is a nice improvement, but it'd be cool if you could actually see it under the name and stuff.
never miss an interrupt ever again. One
I
thing
don't know
I'm
about
looking
that
so
one, man.
much forward to is to try to do the different dungeons, but now in a raid. In
Does
Phase
sound
1,
pretty
we
cool.
so far know that Black Phantom Deeps, or well, BFD, will become a
Mhm.
10-man raid instead of a 5-man dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
What we can expect is that there will be new mechanics compared to the 5-man version, because it's going to be turned into a raid, and
Yeah.
therefore
Yeah, yeah.
also new loot. It seems like it won't be epic loot, but rare loot that will drop from the different bosses. Some of these items even
Like I get it, but it is kind of weird calling it a raid and not dropping purples. You know, getting blues instead feels kind of fucking weird. But maybe the thinking is purples would be too much. Like maybe they feel like they'd have to over like make them like really buffed if they're if they're epics, which kind of screws up like with levelings and stuff. In terms of like if you hit 30, like having a raid item replaced 5 levels later is kind of feels weird. But at the same time, like I feel like they should be, right, because it's only level 25 blues, raid or not, right? Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
even provide you with shadow resistance. It could be useful in Black Phantom Deeps, or maybe even later on when new content is being introduced into the game. I'm honestly looking so much forward to try out this new raid.
I will be curious, like when because I think it's what 25, 40, and 60. I think is the three brackets. I could be wrong. But I'll be curious. Like if you're level 40, do you still go back and do like the 10-man BFD raid? You know, do you go back and do that to help people? Like, are they replayability outside of the initial phases? Like I don't see it. Unless there was like a specific thing that drops from those that isn't necessarily gear, but like maybe a rune or something that you will need.
But also to try all the new spells you can get as each class.
Because the more I think about it, like I can't see this being like replayable content the longer the season goes on. Because like if you're level 60, why would you ever do BFD, right? Versus like end-game raids and like even classic, right? Or TBC or Wrath. Like sure you could do the later raids, and like I'm sure there's some catch-up stuff that you can do, so you don't have to do like Nax in Wrath or Gruul's Lair or something in TBC, but people will still do those regardless at max level, whereas here I just can't see people going back and doing BFD, man, unless there's like a rune or something that carries forward. Might not be a necessity, but like just like maybe a quality of life update or some minor reason. There's got to be a reason to come back to this, or else it's kind of like after phase 1 it's pointless.
For example, being a warlock, rogue, or even shaman tank. All of these new class changes, or well, spells, I've already mentioned in another video that you can find in the description below this one. When we defeat the final raid encounter, we will also get a new buff that lasts for 120 minutes.
Okay, there we go. That right there. That's the reason to do this raid now. I can see that now. Okay, so that makes more sense. There you go. So I don't know if there's maybe a better one at level 40 or 60 or whatnot that would make this redundant, but I can see wanting to do this raid at like level 40 really quickly just to get the boost, the buff, right? And then go and collect your other buffs. Or I think there was like a storage thing where you could store your buffs, I think, for a world buff. So if this classifies as a world buff, then that could be really useful. I could see repeatedly running this, even if it's like super quick at like level 40, right? Just to get the buff.
It will increase our critical strike chance by 2% when
I wonder if it's like if you can like remove the buff, or like if you die if it goes away. It doesn't really specify.
so 20 attack power and even increase our movement speed by 20%.
It's
So
really good.
afterward, you could go to Ashenville and do even better in PvP, or farm your gold a bit quicker in the open world.
That's
Talking
fair.
about gold, and this will also be important in
Oh,
Season
boy.
of Discovery, at least if you would like to speed level your professions.
Okay.
Professions will be so important, as you can now also unlock the opportunity to craft new epic items.
All right, so blacksmithing is going to be incredibly important, is what I'm getting at here. At least as a mailer plate wearer, because that looks really good. That seems really good, man.
Yeah, epic items.
Then again, I'm thinking, right, as a ret paladin, like what gear like if I did that, right? What gear do I even need? Because I have to worry about mana and I think like spell power, spell hit, all these other things because of my abilities, unless they fix that.
Items at level 25 with amazing stats. How you unlock these and what materials you'll need is something you'll have to.
I assume raid, like the BFD, because like the whole thing is like they're void worshipping or something, right? So I can see these which, considering it only requires level 100, that's really fucking great, honestly. But then again, it is level 25, right? But yeah, I can see that these would be raid recipes, right? And then it looks like you can only wear one void touched item. So even if it's like a chest and gloves, like even if you can, there's like 3 or 4 different void gear, right, per armor class. It looks like you could only choose one, which is I guess works, but it would be cooler, in my opinion, if it was like TBC and you got like the I'm trying to remember here, but like the healing tailoring set, right? Like I think it was like the 3-piece moon cloth or something, but like that was really fucking cool. So like that would have been cool if they made these like a set. But maybe it's just the one, because these are just so much better compared to others, maybe.
To discover on your own. So it seems like most professions will be important from the beginning, not just to level up skinning to make raw gold. No, we're talking.
You can get 50% off premium plans for Cyber Week. What I love most
Goddamn
about
ads, man.
premium is it's
Talking about blacksmith.
But yeah, so what I'm thinking here then is, like, if you're paladin, blacksmithing is probably going to be guaranteed, which means you're probably going to want mining at least. And then priest, you're going to want cloth, right? And or tailoring, sorry. And then I guess whatever kind of money generator, right? I have no idea. Or since tailoring, you can just farm up the cloth yourself. I guess you could theoretically go for something else, but you wouldn't have your gathering profession, right? If you went with, I think, anything else. Well, if you went enchanting, you could disenchant the things you make for tailoring. So maybe you could get away with that as a priest. Druid, I'm not quite sure, honestly. I don't think leather working really has a lot of good caster items, so you'd probably want to do tailoring as a druid still. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I know there's, I think, a video from Scotty coming up that would explain that. I don't know if we're going to get to that today, though.
Smithing, leatherworking, tailoring, yeah, even alchemy, as you can now craft the new Black Feather Mana Oil that will only work inside the raid.
It's only in the raid? Applied to target's weapon restores. That would be amazing for a rep paladin, and really for any caster. But that sucks that it's only in the raid. Damn.
And this is also the same case with Sharpening Weapon that increases your chance to hit by 2%. Ever since Blizzard,
I wonder why. Is it too much of a buff if it's outside of the raid?
released Hardcore, they also noticed it was a good decision not to release too many servers, because even though there were only 2 servers for each region, then they had added so many layers that the servers would feel empty even when many players also decided to leave the game. This wasn't the same case with Original Classic 2019, where they all of a sudden had way too many servers compared to the amount of players. When Hardcore, they just removed a couple of players, and then all of a sudden every single zone would feel so crowded, or well, at least alive. So I'm glad they repeat this in Season of Discovery, so you don't
I'm curious to see how many
accidentally
servers
start
are
on a
going to be.
that might be popular in the beginning, but
I'm also curious to see
you
what
won't
like
have
the
anyone
popular
to play
servers
with.
are going to be.
Usually, you would only
Honestly, probably whatever like really big streamers go for. So like Asmon, Esfand, a few others that my brain's just right now. But like whatever servers they go to, I'm sure are going to be the most populated ones. So probably just going to follow that. Honestly, it's probably what is going to be the best.
be able to see your debuff on the target and not a duration, at least not without an add-on. This will now be
Okay, that's
displayed,
cool.
so you can easily see the duration and also when your debuff.
It'd be cool if you hit the like the B button and you could see their template if it would be underneath it. That'd be really cool because I think I have an add-on that shows that.
Will be gone. As you probably know, then we can obtain different runes in Phase 1 that allow us to get new spells. Each class should be able to obtain 12 different runes, so 12 different spells. And
Okay.
as we progress into further phases, then more will also be introduced
Once again, I'm hoping Titan script for Warrior. That'd be really cool. Really, really cool.
into the game. How we obtain these in Phase 1 is something I can't tell you, and something you will have to discover by yourself.
Yep.
But what I can tell you is that you will be able to enchant these runes into your gear, or well, socket them, or whatever you would call it. And when you do this, for example, into your chest, you could then unlock the possibility to tank as a rogue. What I've also done is to add new buffs to each individual class. As a hunter, you can for example use a new aspect of the lion, and this will increase the stats of all your party members by 10%. In other words, hunters will get Blessing of Kings that used to be a paladin only spell. As a druid,
Interesting.
you can unlock Wild Strikes. This works the exact same
I
way.
wonder if that was like the way to get that buff on Horde side because they don't have paladins.
as a shaman's Twin Furry Totem. So each melee hit has a 20% chance to also grant.
It kind of sucks that it's limited to feral, right? Like that. It's unfortunate because that, like, I guess that makes cat DPS and tanks like important, but it kind of sucks that it's not druid, like entirely druid specific in terms of like if you're a boomkin or a healer, a resto healer, you know. So that kind of sucks.
An additional attack with 20% additional attack power. So as an alliance, you can finally pump even more damage, as we now also have a way to get a Wind Fairy Totem. And like it wasn't enough, as a paladin you can also get a rune that will dispel fear and sleep effects on nearby party members. This works the exact same way as a Shaman's Tremor Totem. One thing has
That is
also been
cool.
confirmed about the raids that was introduced in Original Classic. These will not be in the game until later phases after level 60. I feel like this is the right decision, so they don't introduce them at, for example, a level 40 version. Instead, I would much rather like to see new mechanics, new bosses and things in Scarlet Monastery, and I honestly feel like this is the
true.
perfect
Pretty
place,
cool.
because they could just turn it into one big raid instead of having 4 individual dungeons. The fact
Yeah.
that we don't know what will happen in the upcoming phases is something that also makes me so excited to play Season of the
It is honestly pretty cool. So it looks like the caps are going to be 25, 40, 50, then 60. Okay. And it looks like is it just going to be one raid per? Okay. I mean, like, I guess on one hand that makes sense because they're level up raids. But at the same time, it'd be cool if you had more than one raid. Because, like, I can't see, like, Black Fathom Depths dropping enough gear for all the classes, and like enough gear not only for all the classes but like for all the slots, you know,
Discovery.
or at
Who
least
knows,
most of the
maybe
slots.
your favorite dungeon in Classic will eventually be turned into a raid. If you like to PvP and do battlegrounds, then I also have amazing news for you. Warsong Gulch will be available
Eh.
at the launch, and also the possibility to
Like, I like
rank up.
Warsong Gulch,
And there will of
but
course also be a cap, so you can only get to a certain rank, where you can for example purchase items up to level 25.
that would be some nice
So you
stuff
cannot
though.
just get to rank 13 or 14 and unlock your High Warlord or Grand Marshal gear for Phase 4.
I wonder if the honor system is going to be just as ass though.
I have to admit, I'm looking so much forward to try Battlegrounds and open world PvP in Ashenvale with all these new spells. And who knows, a class that used to be an underdog might all of a sudden also perform very well. In the first phase,
What do
the
we got
level
after
cap
this?
is of course 25, and it seems like the leveling speed will still be the exact same as the original Classic. So if you used to follow a leveling guide, or you had made your own custom-made route,
Yeah, okay.
then you can reuse these. Just remember, it might also destroy a bit of your experience, as there's many new things to discover
Store
in
item
the game.
spender. Okay.
One big mistake I've made myself is to complete different quests where you also got a unique item. For
Yeah.
example, a trinket that would increase your movement speed, or for example, a weapon with a unique effect.
Ugh.
Sometimes you could accidentally sell or destroy these items, and
Yeah.
then there would really not be a way for you
So
to
we get
restore them.
them from this
But this
guy.
can now be done in Strength
Okay.
of Unwell at this vendor. The
Oh,
only
okay.
2 requirements is that you have completed
this
the
guy a
quest
leg.
and you don't have the item in your inventory or bank. So what are you looking forward to the most in Season of Discovery? Let me know this in a comment below the video. On my
Okay.
channel, you can
Let's see what else we got. We got Sarth here, 15-minute video. What are we at? Ooh, yeah, we're kind of a little over on time here. So what I'm thinking is we're gonna hit up these two. We're gonna hit up this, and then we're gonna hit up this profession guide, and then that we'll call it. And then tomorrow we're gonna hit up some of these longer ones. Honestly, it's probably going to be this video and Scotty's is, I think, tomorrow's goal, which is honestly going to eat up probably all the time, which is fine, but we'll see what happens. Oh, forgot to mute.
New and exciting news about Season of Discovery. This is just a small update, but I'm trying to keep you
Right,
guys
7
updated
hours ago.
every single step of the way, because a lot of you don't
Can we,
check
like,
Wowhead
save
like
characters?
I do all day
'Cause that'd be
long,
cool, man.
And you kind of just wait for the YouTube videos to come out. So this is for you. We've got
Thank you.
a realm list for Season of Discovery. We did
Okay.
not get realm names, but we got a realm list and a realm count. So without further ado, let's dive in.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize I had my bio break on this entire time. That's gonna be kind of shitty for people. Damn. Eventually I'll get this shit straight. Maybe I'll stop doing the little
So this
BR
was
bike
posted about
thing.
an hour
That
and a
way I
half
don't have to
ago
worry
on
about it.
Wowhead by Rockman. Seasonal realm list shows 4 NA realms for Season of Discovery.
Only 4. So I guess two east, 2 west. So like hardcore. And they have a normal. Really? So are you saying we're gonna have 2 PvP, 1 RP, PvP, and a normal? That's rough, because which side of the coast, you know?
Discovery. The realms are currently just named a realm, a realm, a realm, a realm, but it's showing what types of realms they are.
That's
so now
weird.
we know exactly what we're getting. It looks like we're going to be getting a normal realm. We're not sure of where this server is going to be, if it's going to be a West Coast or an East Coast server. And then
Yeah,
we're
that's
getting
kind of a
2 regular
mistake.
PvP realms.
I feel like what they should do is 2 normal, the 2 PvP like they already have, and then 2 RP PvP. That way you got, you know, the 3 different ones on the West Coast, 3 different ones on East Coast. That's kind of what they should do.
So clearly we're getting a West Coast PvP and an East Coast PvP. My community is going to be on the East Coast PvP in case anyone is wondering. And then we are getting our promised RP PvP realm. While Blizzard did state they won't be revealing realm names ahead of Season of Discovery's launch, the seasonal realm list is currently viewable on Classic Era realms. Players can see there will be 4 NA realms, all currently named a realm, with 1 being a normal PvE realm, 2 PvP realms, and 1 RP PvP realm, which Blizzard did say they would be making. So
And we
at
don't
least
get
it's
to
clear to us now that
save
we're
our
getting
make a
4
list or
realms.
anything.
We're not going to be sure which realms are East Coast and West Coast, I'm assuming, until...
I know that come Thursday at 1 o'clock, I will at least like create a character and probably log out, because I should still be doing things at that time.
launch day, but we do have an image here showing that we have the seasonal tab now,
Nice.
and it's showing those 4 realms. So this is pretty exciting. We know exactly how many realms we're getting. I'm assuming it's going to be the same as Hardcore. It's going to be these realms, and they're going to have a ton of layers on them. It's 2 more realms than Hardcore, so it may be spread out a little bit more, but I do think...
I don't feel like that's 2 more than Hardcore, because the Hardcore has 4, I think, has normal and PvP. From what I remember, 2 East, 2 West. So nothing's changed.
I think that there is so much hype around Season of Discovery that 4 realms are needed here. 1 West Coast, 1 East Coast PvP. The RP PvP.
Right? Like, I'm not crazy. Right? Now I gotta check. Alright, we want the Warcraft Classic. I'm gonna boot this up real quick and take a peek. But I'm pretty sure it's 2 and 2. Pretty sure. Let's take a peek. Let's filter this guy out here. All right. Is it not working? I hear the noise, but I don't see it. It's because Chrome's overlapping? Okay. Now we're going to disable those. Alright, let's take a quick peek, guys. Alright. Heart. No way, really? Oh shit, I was wrong. They literally only give you 2. Well, fuck, okay. Damn.
Not sure where that's going to be located, or the normal realm for anyone wanting to play on PvE realm, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But this is exciting, guys. We have 2 days left. We can
Why did I get 2 and 2 on each
yeah,
side?
I'm pumped. So if you guys enjoyed this little update, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications.
yeah.
And if you want to hang out
Thanks,
with me live, I do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv.
Alright, let's do this real quick. Volume.
Or class. Do you
Always
follow the
volume,
meta
man.
like everyone else and get engineering so you benefit from all the gadgets and explosives? Or do you go for money-making professions in Season of Discovery, as
I say 1 and 1.
is going to be pretty
1 and 1.
sparse? Probably for a couple of weeks until bots take hold. The other option
Yeah.
is, do you just pick professions that fit best with the class that you're playing? Like, if you're a leather-wearing rogue, you go skinning and leather working so you can make yourself some gear on the way up. Well, that's all personal decisions to make, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you which one of them you should choose, but if, like me, you want to get as close to absolute best gear in each phase of Season of Discovery, regardless of what the level cap is, then it's definitely worth having a look through some of the gear that you can get on 60 upgrades. I'll put a link to it in the description, but it has been updated to Season of Discovery now, so you can very quickly look at where the gear comes from, and if any of it's crafted, it'll tell you the exact materials that you're going to need, including...
Where is that link? Bro, where's that link? Oh, I gotta back this up. What did he say?
Cap is, then it's definitely worth having a look through some of the gear that you can get on 60 upgrades. I'll put a link to it in the description, but it has been updated to Season of Discovery now.
What the fuck is it? I'm not seeing it, man. I see the rest EXP. I see the profession thing. His kick. That. I don't see it, bro. Oh, he's streaming on Kick now. Well, fuck, okay. Alright, I'm feeling stupid, Mitt. Let me back this up again.
Of what the level, get as close to absolute bit for working so you can make yourself some gear on the way up. Well, that's all personal decisions to make, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you which one of them you should choose, but if, like me, you want to get as close to absolute best gear in each phase of Season of Discovery, regardless of what the level cap is, then it's definitely worth having a look through some of the gear that you can get on 60 upgrades. I'll put a link to it in the description, but it...
On 60 upgrades. Bro, I don't see it. Link in the description. Yeah, like, I don't feel like I'm blind, but I just don't see it. Rest EXP, YouTube channel, he streams now on Kick. Yeah, dude, I don't see it. We're just gonna keep moving on then.
Has been updated to Season of Discovery now, so you can very quickly look at where the gear comes from, and if any of it's crafted, it'll tell you the exact materials that you're going to need, including all the materials for your enchants as well. An example of this would be Mal users that can make use of strength. Shining Silver Breastplate from Blacksmithing is going to be the best you're going to be able to get at level 25. It is only 1 strength and 1 stamina over the Mutant Scale Breastplate that you can get from Wailing Caverns, but ultimately, when you look through any of these, it's still going to be the best that you can get at max level. Even if you as an agility user, getting hold of the engineering parachute cloak, giving the most agility at level 25, and even the cloth head while talking about engineering.
Dude, where is this shit? Like, I am immensely curious. I will have to look for it later.
Given a mention to, because it gives a whopping 21 damage and healing, and will literally give you more spell damage than any other piece of gear at this level. And actually, depending on your setup, it could give you more spell power than all of your gear combined. That's pretty crazy to think about. I'm not saying that any of these will be easy to come by, not just because some recipes are world drops or found in lockboxes which we can get our stealthy friends to open while you pray it's a good recipe that's inside and not some garbage green item, but actually it's because we're now trying to craft items that really you wouldn't have access to until your late 30s or early level 40s, but we're trying to get them at level 25. You're going to need to be creative.
God damn ads, man.
Are in peril. You must
At level 25, you can get all of your professions to 225. So yes, it's absolutely possible to run around at level 25 mining Mithril as an example, or even skinning as high as level 45 mobs at level 25. The problem comes from either running around without dying to actually get the mines, or having a group of friends wanting to kill these higher level things to be able to skin them. Let's also not forget that you're going to want to be killing higher level mobs to be able to get things like Mage Weave Cloth or even Rune Cloth. It can make it a bit of a nightmare. And that's where the absolute beast of a profession, an almost mandatory profession, comes in for you in Phase 1 of Season of Discovery.
Fishing.
You've probably guessed it already before even clicking on the video. If you're a long-term hardcore player or just a classic era player, fishing is and always has been an amazing way to get more than just
I've always ignored it.
Hardcore players will know exactly what I'm talking about with this. With some of these recipes needing higher level cloths, levers, or even green...
From what I remember, like, I could learn that at, I think the profession trainer. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Gems like Star Rubies, you can get all of these from fishing, and even on a side note, if you were planning on leveling enchanting, you can also get the higher level greens you might need from fishing to DE and keep
no fucking way, really?
You've got numerous options
Holy
of places
shit,
where
I'm gonna have to fish. I hate fishing, but I'm gonna have to do it.
Getting to some of these places is not going to be easy, because really I'd say the main places is going to be Tanarus, which is very high and you'll probably die a lot to get in position to start fishing, and Strangleform Val. This is not to say it's not impossible, because actually making your way along the coast in Strangleform Val as an example is not actually that difficult. You've just got to make sure you've got your wits about you and you're not pulling anything that you can't handle. Which at level 25 will probably be everything. If you was to look at some of these recipes that we've already spoke about, they can actually be found from fishing. But the biggest thing is the things like Mage Weave Cloth. Getting Mage Weave Cloth at 25 is not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but luckily they are found in Ironbound Trunks, Ironbound Lost Chest, Mithril Bound Trunks, and reinforced lock
What
chest.
the
Now,
fuck?
mithril-bound trunks are
Holy
really the ones
shit.
that we're going to be after. Like I said before, mithril-bound trunks can be found off the coast of Stranglethorn Vale,
Dude,
Azshara, which
I'm a
you're
fish
not
like a
going to go to,
motherfucker.
and Tanaris, which actually is pretty safe. It is just getting to Tanaris that might be a bit of a problem, depending on whether you're Horde or Alliance. You've also
Yeah, it's
got
gonna be
Feralus
ass
that,
as an
again,
Alliance.
it would be very dangerous to start fishing this in Feralus.
sure.
My go-to would probably be Tanaris. Inside these containers, you'll find loads of bolts of mage weave, thick leather, rugged leather, bolts of rune cloth, and I mean, just those alone make it absolutely worthwhile.
Hell yeah,
It's
it
going to
does.
be far easier to fish than it is to be able to kill the mobs that are going to give you mage weave, or kill the mobs to be able to skin to
Yeah.
get thick leather or even rugged leather. And bolts of rune cloth, I would say, at 25, good luck getting rune cloth. Admittedly, there's nothing you're going to want rune cloth for anyway, but it'll be good
Yeah,
to
'cause
start
it's way
stacking
too
up for
out-leveled.
future phases. Now again, the thing about these boxes is they've got an absolutely monstrously big loot table. So while they're going to be items that come from these that you're definitely not going to be able to use, you're going to be able to make good gold, or if you're enchanting, you're going to be able to DE them and get really ahead on future materials.
Wow.
But you do also get several recipes from these, which are going to be world drops as well. They
Okay.
absolutely can be found out in the world from random mobs. But if we was to take any one of these as an example, let's say Formula Enchant Greater Spirit, which, as you can see, it requires enchanting 220, which you'll
Yeah.
absolutely be able to do at level 25. If you was to want to go and farm for this, you're looking at killing 41, 42, and some
Oof.
38 to 39 elites. But
That's
a lot
rough,
of these
man.
are elite or in dungeons, which at 25 makes it pretty much inaccessible. So getting lucky and getting these through fishing, definitely what I would be doing. What would be
That makes sense.
worthwhile doing as well is when you're getting some of these greens for future phases, it would definitely be worth then having a quick look on 60 upgrades and then changing your phase bis to phase 2, and then having a quick look through and seeing if any of these are BOE, or you can just literally scroll down and go to the BOE section, and if any of them actually sit on your bis list, you might want to keep hold of them for the next phase. Sorry, I'm probably sure that point was pretty obvious, but again, you might get these greens and you're like, oh, I don't need them yet, and you'll vendor them when you could just chuck it in the
That
bank.
would be
and
me.
you've
I would totally do
potentially got an
something
item
stupid
that
like
in,
that.
I don't know, 6, 8, 10 weeks, however long it takes for us to get to the level 40 cap, you'll be able to make use of straight away, or even pick up some leveling gear that's going to replace the items that you're using now at level
It's true.
25.
Smart.
I mean, fishing has just got a lot going for it, and it
Oh,
means
yeah.
you haven't got to kill mobs, you haven't got to skin, you haven't got to mine. Tanaris is probably going to be pretty busy. You can have a look
Mm-hmm.
through everything that comes from fishing on Wowhead, obviously, and see if there's anything that you're going to want to get hold of. But as I say, some of the recipes themselves, even like Mithril Shield Spike, which
Wow,
is
yeah,
gonna
no,
be
dude, I
something
would
that a lot
never
of
have
people are
thought
gonna want,
fishing would be
obviously,
this
and you can
fucking
even
good.
Pick yourself up some backpacks and things
Wow.
like Aquamarine,
It's mind-numbing
Star
as
Ruby,
fuck, but
Citrin. It's also worth mentioning
Jesus,
that
is
Star
it worth
Rubies,
it,
if you
apparently.
need these for any of the crafting recipes, they don't exclusively just come from these mithril-bound trunks. You can also get them from bloated fish, which will be when you're just fishing, you'll get, instead of getting a
Ah.
red gill fish, you'll get a bloated red gill, you open it, and there'll be, well, there could be numerous things in it, but Star Ruby would be one of them. I mean, using
Sweet.
bloated catfish as just an example, which can be found, well, in loads of low-level zones. You can get rings, some of the lower-level
Holy
rings.
shit, some
and
of those are
obviously
good.
The higher the bloated fish that you get, the higher the loot that you get in it is.
Whoa,
Now,
man.
sorry if this was teaching anyone how to suck eggs, but I do think that a lot of people, like, coming from Wrath or coming from, you know, future expansions to come and play Season of Discovery, probably forgot how valuable fishing actually is.
Dude, I had no
especially in a fresh
idea at
environment
all.
where no one's really got any gold
That's really
just
cool,
yet,
man.
and you can start going out and getting these greens to vendor. I mean, you really can rake the gold in just
Oh,
by sitting
yep.
and doing some fishing. But that's not the purpose of it. Yeah, I'm using fishing as the primary purpose to be able to get good
Mhm.
crafted gear, recipes, which I'll share within the guild. And obviously, get us all level 25 bis gear and pumping in Black Fathom Deeps. That sounds so weird to say. If you enjoyed
It
the video,
really
be sure to
does.
like and subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's joined. The first Season of Discovery related members only video is live now. So
Awesome. Oh, that was really informative. So I definitely know I'm gonna fish now. Honestly, I still need to figure out a class. I'm heavily leaning towards just going paladin. Honestly, it's kind of what I'm thinking. Paladin with mining, blacksmithing. Is what I'm thinking. We'll see. Watch some more stuff tomorrow. But for now, that's it. I'm hoping this is gonna be the same time tomorrow. I don't think I have anything unusual going on, so should still be able to hit that normal time frame of like 3 to 5 PST. Anyways, yeah, thanks for joining. Hopefully it was super like informative to a degree,